Let's speak now to Joe Macaron, who's a policy analyst at the Arab Center in Washington, D.C. Joins us now from Arlington in Virginia. Mr. Macaron, the new government is in place now, but it doesn't look like it's going to quell the street, does it?
It doesn't look like. While some of the names are new, some of them are good names in general in their sector. Most of the government is not independent. It's a status quo government. We can still see the political class behind the scene basically running the show. We don't see independent faces. We don't see, especially in key economic and financial portfolios, we don't see names that give the impression of reform. So the problem is the parliament is the product of this parliament. This parliament is in the hand of the ruling class. No, there's no way out of it if we don't do an early election.
So is your sense that the protests that we've been seeing on the streets, and we have been seeing tonight in Beirut, will continue?
It looks like this week in Lebanon, the protesters declared the week of anger because it's been more than 90 days and there was really no urgency from the politicians leading the country at this point. So we don't see any new, unless because the system needs a positive shock for it, a shock of reform, a sense of urgency. We don't see it until now. We have to see the transition now. We will have a new, especially interior minister. He comes from the military background. We will see how they will deal with the protesters. We will continue the same trend of the past week, which is more confrontational with the protesters, or we see more trying to appease, offer some real plan and trying to appease them. But at this point, I think the first impression is bad, and it's going to be a bad start somehow between the two. But the crucial, I think we have to see how much security measures will be taken.
Right. But what actions do you think this new government could take? What would be the shock of reform, if you like, the sense of urgency? What do they need to do to calm the sense of anxiety on the street?
I mean, the biggest shock is to see some investigation, maybe some corrupt people in jail, some money returned. Some clear economic policy of reform, cutting expenses, cutting a lot of the corruption that happens into giving contracts. There's a lot of middlemen between the quotation and Lebanon that can be cut in that sense. So the door is wide, but I think you have to start with the judiciary system, that they really are ready to take to court politicians from all political sides of Lebanon who really were involved in few things and track the money that were taken out of the country. There's a lot of positive things that can be done, but giving the names, and again, it's a government status quo. I mean, we hope it's the impression is wrong, but we have to watch and see.
Joe, very briefly, if you would, the finance minister has asked for international recognition. The government should be internationally recognized. Why is that necessary, and will they get it?
It's definitely an important thing. Lebanon don't have money now. They need support from the West. From the West, the prime minister said he's going to do an Arab tour, basically to convince Saudi Arabia and others to pitch in. I doubt it because they are mostly gone. I think the main test will be the U.S. test. If the U.S. said this government we can deal with, this is going to change everything. If the U.S. will say it's the government of Hezbollah and then will impose sanctions, then we have a really crisis at home and abroad.
That's the thing, isn't it? OK, we'll leave it there. Joe Macaron, we appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.